Hello. Thank you for coming. Hello to members of Knesset who are here from Meretz and Labor-Gesher. First of all, I want to congratulate the leader of Labour, member of Knesset, Amir Peretz, for the joint decision that we made together to head in these elections Labor-Gesher, Meretz as one list. Amir, you made a historic step here. And this, I must say, is a huge privilege to stand here by your side. It's no secret that this was what I planned from the day that I was elected leader of Meretz and before. We started the process for the elections in September, and now we've completed it. I want to thank from here my colleagues in Meretz, the members of the faction, for their backup and support. I want to thank them for their friendship. A special thanks to the Secretary General of the party, Amir Peretz, for his efforts. He's going to be a father for the first time. So what we're doing here is first of all to provide a better future for your child. This union is good news for anyone who believes in peace, social justice, rights, the rule of law, democracy, and above all, continuing the state of Israel on the basis of the vision of the prophets and the declaration of independence within borders that are agreed between us and our neighbors. This union is good news for anyone who wants to see a different government here, a government that promotes a peace process, a fair economy and equal rights, a government that sees human beings, all human beings with no distinction as to race, religion, sexual orientation. Our union is good news for the center-left bloc and bad news for Bibi and his immunity bloc. This is an important and critical process to ending the rule of the defendant from Balfour. This is good news, bad news for the Kahanists. This is a historic moment in Israeli politics, a historic moment for the Israeli left. We have never given up on our duty to entrench peace and permanent borders. Ours is the answer to the annexation talk of Bennett and Netanyahu's attempts to escape justice and on his way to destroy the whole judicial process. This is the Israeli answer. This is the sane Israeli answer, the clear, non-stuttering Israeli answer, not approximately, not maybe. In these elections, there is a chance, my friends, to end the task and to create a real political, ideological overhaul. If we manage in this task, we will guarantee the expulsion of Netanyahu and a real change, a government of change in Israel. I'm proud and happy to be part of this moment, a moment in which narrow personal interests have been pushed to one side in the interests of the bigger interests of replacing Netanyahu and, no less importantly, changing the ground in Israel. Meretz is my party and gives this union a special flavor. We're a party with loyal ideological voters who aren't tempted by all sorts of trends or try to cut edges. This dear section of the public will be, as part of this union, will get greater representation, not just in the Knesset, but hopefully also around the government table. There is serious potential here to return to government and to have an influence from inside the coalition and government. Like in any process of unity, running together, all sides must pay a price. Same with me, but at the moment of truth, I chose to show personal example, national responsibility, based on other interests. I chose the good of the country, of the bloc, of Meretz, even over my own personal place on the list, as number one in a separate party. Given the future of the nation and its children, we need to have a little bit of proportion. When I look at our list, I see a list of dedicated men and women, brave fighters, with experience in a range of issues, and in many of the struggles we've fought together, and the union at the moment is something almost miraculous. True, not everyone is represented up there in the top spots, and there are personal disappointments, but any movement of one person means moving someone else. And the only way to solve this is to get more seats, to make sure that all the people get onto realistic spots. Now it depends on the voters, not just on us. This merger, I'll wrap up in a bit. This merger is a merger of two parties. This merger is a merger of two parties with deep roots that have tens of thousands of members, with thousands of activists, Jews and Arabs, students, youth members, municipal representation, mayors, national institutions, and most importantly, territory. Our activists know each other, and for years have been waiting for this moment in which they'll be able to work together, and here it is happening. This is a public that has much deeper roots than many people understand, and that's why this was inevitable. Our merger is a force multiplier for the next government. The stronger we are, the more we'll be able to influence in the government. We'll be big enough, we'll be able to guarantee that blue and white will opt for a change government and won't change tack to the racist, nationalist, homophobic criminal right. We offer the public one ballot paper. We outstretch our hand for peace with our Palestinian neighbors based on two-state solution. We offer a solution for the residents of the Gaza envelope. Our ballot will contain a commitment to resisting annexation and the settlements and price tag attacks. Our ballot paper involves a fight for social justice, an economy that works for the citizen and not just. You will find a desire to fight for organized labor, for elderly people, disabled people, and a solution for the health system. What will you not find on our ballot list? You won't find religious coercion or discrimination and dark rabbis. You won't find others who say who's normal and who isn't. It doesn't discriminate. There is no legitimation for racist and dark opinions. Starting today, friends, the political map is clear and it's easier than ever. They can vote for, right-wing voters can vote for Likud or blue and white. If you want to vote left, there is only one list, Emet. Labor, Meretz, Gesher. Thank you.
כעת יישא דברים יושב ראש העבודה גשר, מר אמיר פרץ.
Good evening, everyone.
ערב טוב לכולם. היום אנו קובעים.
Good evening, everyone.
מי יוביל את מדיניות הממשלה.
Today we've decided who will lead the policy of the next government. We will lead.
אנחנו ננווט את הממשלה הבאה.
We will steer the next government to a government of change and hope.
היום אנחנו מביאים את בשורת השינוי והתקווה.
Today we bring the news of hope and change for the 2020 elections. In the previous elections, we merged Labor-Gesher, led by me and Orly Levy. This merger inserted an important discourse into elections that placed people above all else, in which we really care about people in Israel. And every day that has passed, the merger between Orly Levy and me has been emboldened, and any attempts to weaken us have not worked together. We withstood the pressures and the temptations from every direction for us to join the Netanyahu government. We were determined. We didn't hesitate. We didn't zigzag. Anyone who doubted our resilience and our ideology knows that we respect the voters. We do not deride the democratic process and all of our commitments in the election. These are ironclad commitments. And our first commitment was to fight for the character of the State of Israel, its social character, its constitutional character, its political and defense character, because for us, just not Bibi is not enough. It wasn't enough then. It wasn't enough then. It wasn't enough then, and it won't be enough today. Therefore, we presented a comprehensive social plan that took care of pensioners and elderly people and sick people and disabled peoples and young families and single-parent families, with no distinction between Jews and Arabs, with no distinction as to race, religion, or sexual orientation. The union, the alliance between us and Orly Levy will only continue to strengthen. Our plans will be a condition for our entry into Benny Gantz's government, because only thus will we replace the social neglect policy of Benjamin Netanyahu and switch to a policy of social investment. Yes, yes, yes. Say so from house to house, from voter, from social neglect to social investment. That's what Orly Levy and I fought for, and that's what we'll continue to fight for. Today, I'm proud to stand by the side of my friend Nitzan Horowitz. We don't agree on everything, but the common denominator between us is greater than what divides us. And for the sake of the State of Israel, for the sake of the hope to replace Benjamin Netanyahu's policy, which has created poverty, a crisis in the health system, in education, in welfare, a policy that brought elderly people, Holocaust survivors, to beg for alms, a policy that ignored disabled people and special needs people, and all through incitement and divide and rule. I see this merger today as the most important variable in the 2020 elections. Only with Labor-Gesher and Meretz can we change the government. Only if Labor, Gesher and Meretz are large can we replace the government. I hear from all directions how difficult the process is, how impossible it is. Phone calls, people tell me, how were you able to do something that looked impossible? True, but for everyone who says they love the country, what does loving the country truly mean, if not fulfilling the opportunity to undertake difficult, impossible steps for the sake of the state? Yes, for the sake of the state. And true, after much consultation, I took responsibility on myself, and I decided that we would merge Labor-Gesher with Meretz. I feel that there is an abnormal opportunity here. This union is a force multiplier. And I have two flags, the flag of social justice and the flag of peace. Because today, remember, today it was decided who will lead the next government. We will lead it. We will navigate it towards a path of hope and change. I took it on myself to lead the labor movement along the path of Yitzhak Rabin of blessed memory, a way that would lead to peace and social justice, national security, personal security, and change the priorities in Israel. Whoever wants Rabin's path must vote for this merger. Whoever wants Rabin's path must strengthen Labor-Gesher and Meretz and must vote Emet. Netanyahu, together with Smotrich and Rabbi Rafi Peretz, are exacerbating needless hatred. We're going to bring bountiful love. We'll restore hope to citizens of Israel. 2 stages in replacing Netanyahu. The first is preventing the formation of the bloc of 61 headed by Netanyahu, but the second is to form a center-left bloc of 61 members of Knesset. Indeed, let it be clear, because I'm just about to wrap up. Today, in this merger, we've already managed to fulfill the first stage. There will be no loss of votes on the center-left bloc, and therefore, the right, headed by Netanyahu, will not have 61 seats. Today, we are blowing apart Netanyahu's plan to smithereens to get 61 seats for immunity. Any attempt to procure immunity for him is no longer relevant. Today, we've blown that out of the water. Today, we continue to build a real immunity for the state of Israel. Immunity for 1 million children in poverty. Immunity for ill people in queues and hospitals. Immunity for pensioners and single-parent families and children with special needs. Immunity for the working settlement attacked by the country. Immunity for Israeli society. Now that we've already promised that there will not be 61 seats for the right-wing bloc, now we're hunkering down for the hard work to guarantee 61 seats for the center-left bloc. This is our central plan. And so today, a united party, a large, strong party, will be the political conscience of the next government that will be formed and will become a rehabilitation government for Israel. Because today, I repeat, today it was decided here who will lead the policy of the next government, and I say, we will lead. We will navigate the next government, which will turn into a hope and change government. Thank you very much.
And that was the first press conference.